there was a program I used to listen to when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And it started like this. I'd like to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. Now, I see some people are smiling already. So obviously you knew who that was. So I want to talk to you today with some of that cadence and some of the delivery and potency of that message. Why is it that some of us fail and why is it that some of us succeed? That idea came to me in the form of a phrase that was birthed when I was graduating high school and I was voted most likely to succeed. I'd won awards, 8 awards, and there was one person who won more than I did. I had a scholarship to go to Georgia Tech. My uncle wanted me to follow in his footsteps, and my father agreed, which is to be an architect and a civil engineer. But I love music. I love the idea of creating. I love watching nature. I loved observing people. People are so interesting. You learn a lot from every living thing. I'm from the islands, and probably that's why, because we didn't have a lot of distractions that kept us from just observing God's creation. And I found a lot of solace. I found a lot of wisdom in how things moved and watching the ants and how they work together and build. I would take a magnifying glass and I would be there for hours. I wouldn't say I was a strange kid. I was a curious kid. so So Miss Schubert came at my graduation. She put her hand on my shoulder. She was my music teacher who would encourage me to follow my passion and my dreams for music. She felt perhaps those incipient gifts may do something. She said, Johnson, with her hand on my shoulder. In the front of me is this cake that my father baked for me. He was one of the best chefs. Matter of fact, he was the first Black chef in the Bahamas. He was executive at food and beverage manager, as well as executive chef for 2 of the largest hotels on the island. So just recently, he'd just come and put the cake down. And so I'm staring at the cake, and Miss Schubert comes behind me. She puts her hand on my shoulder and says, Johnson, what are you going to do? And at that time, I really didn't understand how people became successful. I just knew that some people were and some weren't. I figured if you work hard, then that will be the ticket. But I seen a lot of people in my life at that particular time, I was 17 years old, who worked really hard, but seemed to be in the same position they were when I was a kid. So it couldn't have been just working hard.